What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. We are going to be recapping everything that went down for episode 3 of the Contender Series this season. And I actually just finished up my very first fight companion ever. I decided last minute that I was like, why not just do it? I'm sitting in front of my computer watching these fights anyway. So we went live. Thank you to anybody that joined while we were streaming the fights. I am excited. I'm going to try to do this for the rest of the episodes, for the rest of season 8, and maybe some future UFC Fight Night cards as well. Regardless, thank you guys so much, whoever came and checked it out. I try to do as best of a play-by-play as I can, so I'm sure we'll work on that as we go. But we went 5-0 on picks, and yes, we were gifted 2 split decisions that went our way. One of them probably shouldn't have, which we will talk about, but regardless, we swept the card. I'm ecstatic about that. We've gone, I think we are now 12-3 on the season, so we are absolutely killing it. We picked the only underdog that won. I'm super excited about it. Let's get into this breakdown. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and comment down below what you thought of episode 3. Kicking off the card was a flyweight bout. Jack Duffy went up against Nick Piccininni, and Nick Piccininni got the nod. He got a split decision win, and on the fight companion, I genuinely believed that Jack Duffy was going to win. When I first broke down this fight, I thought Piccininni was going to be the better striker. He was more patient in his fight tape. He had better hands. Duffy was more of a wrestler and grappler. And even though Piccininni has that wrestling as well, I was shocked to see how well Duffy was on the feet. I don't know if it was like a size issue, if the length of Duffy was really tricking Piccininni, but those leg kicks were destroying Piccininni throughout this fight. And in that first round, it was all Duffy, all volume. He was landing the beautiful leg kicks, and I'm riding off a wave right now. I'm so excited. I can't remember everything that went down, but ultimately Duffy took that first round. The second round was a little bit better. I think Piccininni ended up getting a takedown, if I'm not mistaken, and he put in some good work, and I think it truly came down to that third round. And just in my opinion, I thought Duffy did a little bit more in that third round. But it's not to say that Piccininni wasn't doing anything. I just believe Duffy had the more impactful moments on the feet. Those leg kicks were just absolutely cash for him throughout the night. And yeah, I genuinely thought Duffy won. I had Piccininni as my pick. When you guys listen to my breakdown, I was wrong with how this fight played out. I thought Piccininni would be the better striker. I thought he was going to be able to wrestle a little bit more, but Duffy did a good job in some spots in that regard. But Duffy's a weird guy, man. In between rounds, before the fight, he's laying down on his back, feet up against, like, in the air, legs up against the fence. Weird guy. I love it. But how this ended up happening, Nick Piccininni did not get a contract, but Dana White came out and said, if you and Jack Duffy both agree to rematch, we will have you back here again on the last episode of season 8 to rematch. So if they both decide, if they're both okay with it, we're getting this matchup once again. And it was actually a good scrap. It was a great scrap. So it's going to be interesting to see how both of these guys adjust. They only have 7 weeks to prep. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 7 weeks. And they're going to be right back in the Apex, same building, ready to scrap. So I think we got gifted this one to start off the night. But regardless, Nick Piccininni gets it done by split decision. What is this background, dude? I think I messed up, ladies and gentlemen. All right, you're not getting a background for this one, boys. Bantamweight fight. Malcolm Wellmaker against Adam Bramhald. Malcolm Wellmaker absolutely sparks Bramhald in the first round. Walk-off KO. You cannot ask for a better performance when you're looking for a contract on the Contender Series. Malcolm Wellmaker is a problem. He's dangerous. He's methodical. He's cerebral in the striking, and he does have a wrestling and grappling game as well that he didn't even need to use in this fight. He did shoot for a takedown, but I think it was more to keep Adam like on his toes and keep him thinking about different things, not just the striking. But I will say he played this fight beautifully. in my breakdown, I mentioned that I believe Wellmaker was going to be the better fighter. Both these guys are technical on the feet. I do favor Wellmaker in the power category. And Bramhald likes to rinse and repeat combinations and what he likes to do on the feet. And in my breakdown, I said I think Wellmaker is going to find, he's going to figure it out early. I didn't say early, but he's going to figure it out and find that shot that puts Bramhald away. And that's exactly what happened. Every single time Bramhald would come in with that lunging left that we talked about in our breakdown, Wellmaker would stick out that jab, and it would just kind of like, it would tag Bramhald, and then it had him thinking, okay, all I got to do is worry about that jab when I'm lunging in. So he dips his head more to the left, I guess, to stay away from that jab. But this time, Wellmaker stepped back and threw an overhand right, looping, hit the temple of Bramhald and just put him face down onto the canvas, KO'd him, and he put him in the Sid from Toy Story position. I don't know if you guys have seen Toy Story, but Sid sleeps with his face down and his butt in the air, and that's exactly how Bramhald looked after that right hand from Wellmaker. What a beautiful performance. I'm super excited for this bantamweight prospect. He is 30 years old, but he is a problem. I'm excited to see how quickly he returns, because I don't even think he took any damage. He got Bramhald out of there in that first round, and we had Wellmaker. And I'm pretty sure we called the KO as well. So let's keep going. Marco Tulio comes back for a second appearance on the Contender Series. Went up against Matthew Duclos. And in this fight, in my breakdown, I didn't really have much tape to go off of for the Duclos side. So I wasn't like 100% confident, especially with how big of a favorite Tulio was. I think he was like a minus 600 favorite. So I didn't want to, I'm not 100% confident, only because there's a lot of unknowns on the Duclos side, and I knew what kind of a fighter Tulio was. I know he has a great overall skill set. As you can see by that tank top, he trains with, Charles Oliveira and them at the Shoot to Box. And I just had faith that he would get this done, but I wasn't like super high confident on it, despite the odds. I'm like hiccuping and burping and shit. He kind of came out a little spastic in this match. I was kind of worried about that, because he did get a win last time he was on the Contender Series, and it wasn't enough to get that contract from Dana. So I was worried that he was going to come out, maybe try to do some crazy ass shit and get that contract. And even though there was moments where he was kind of like crashing the pocket and Duclos was landing on him, I was happy to see that he would kind of like step back and like readjust, and he wasn't being a complete spaz, but he was piecing up Duclos on the feet. You could see there was a striking advantage on the Tulio side, and I don't even know if he decided to wrestle at all in this matchup. From what I remember, it was just strictly a striking match. But comes the second round, Tulio started to break down Duclos, started piecing him up, hitting him with some big shots, and then to finish it, he did a spinning back kick right to the liver of Duclos, which put him down to the canvas, and then he followed up with a couple of shots. Boom, boom, put Duclos out. I don't think he knocked him out, but you know what I'm saying. He finished the fight with ground and pound, and this is actually, Dana mentioned it, this was the very first spinning back kick finish in Contender Series history. So good for Tulio. He didn't hang his head after that, not getting the contract. He got the win. He went on to the regional scene, got another win, got a finish, got his second opportunity, and beat Duclos in emphatic fashion. And you can't really feel confident picking French dudes. Let's move on to the next one. We had Tulio in this matchup. Next fight, probably fight of the night. Honestly, Michael Aswell goes up against Bogdan Grad. This was a war from start to finish. These two both deserved a contract, in my opinion. We've seen Dana give losers contracts before, and lesser fighters, in my opinion, than what Aswell did. We have Jose Medina, all right, last week, debuting in the UFC after getting shit kicked in the UFC, okay? But then you have Michael Aswell, who arguably won the fight. It was a split decision that I thought would go Aswell's way. I had Bogdan Grad, so keep that in mind. I picked Bogdan Grad to win, so I'm happy the split went our way. That's two of them tonight. But I thought Aswell, I thought he did enough. That 30-27 scorecard for Bogdan Grad was kind of wild. I'm not going to lie. I'm okay with the split decision going his way because it was literally, I honestly thought it went down to that third round, and that third round to me was an Aswell round. I think first round was Aswell. He was landing the better strikes. Bogdan Grad, that second round was better for him, and he did end up cutting open Aswell, which is going to obviously sway the judges. There was lots of blood there. And in the third round, it was an all-out war. I think Aswell landed like 60-plus strikes on Bogdan Grad or something. So I don't know how Bogdan Grad won. I'm okay with it. But that 30-27 is wild. Wild shit. Regardless, this was an absolute war. Back and forth. Everything. Near the end of the rounds, Bogdan Grad would try to get a takedown and kind of like do that and kind of mix that in, which is nice to see. But Aswell did a great job defending them, and as he was defending them, he was landing some big shots on the side of the head of Grad that really deterred Bogdan from trying to continue to get those takedowns. But one thing I am going to say is I've never seen somebody eat so many 1-2s and not adjust. Bogdan Grad has zero head movement. Michael Aswell was landing a 1-2 the entire night, and Bogdan was not adjusting. He was just sitting there taking them, just taking the 1-2s. Like, I don't understand how his coaches didn't be like, dude, move your head off that center line. All he has is that 1-2. And obviously he's going to keep using it because he keeps hitting you. And I think Aswell's corner did a great job telling him, dude, that 1-2 is absolutely money. It's money for you. I thought Aswell was going to be lacking the cardio in this matchup, but he was fresher at the end of that fight. He came in on that promo and he said, I'm a dog, and he is a dog. What an absolute war. If you guys didn't watch that episode, I definitely suggest you go on to Fight Pass and find it and watch it from start to finish. That was an amazing fight. Hunter Campbell, I believe it was, said to Dana White, Bogdan Grad's getting that. Well, he didn't say that he's going to get the contract. I'm pretty sure Dana decides, but Bogdan Grad's getting that contract. And Michael Aswell, the moment he is medically cleared after that war, if he is going to be a short notice replacement in the UFC. So Michael Aswell didn't get the official contract on the show, but he is going to be in the UFC. And I'm really excited to see him there. If he kind of tightens up a little bit and works in a little bit more combinations, he is a dog. He's tough. There's a lot to like about him. He has good takedown defense, and I'm super excited about it. Bogdan Grad needs to work on head movement. Let's move on to the main event of the evening. I had picked Pulyaev in this match. He was the underdog and the only one to win on today's episode. And let me tell you, I was very hesitant on this pick because a lot of the analysts on YouTube were picking Liam Anderson. When I looked at the odds after I made my picks, I was shocked to see that Pulyaev was such a big underdog. I think he was like plus 200 when I first checked, because I just didn't think that Liam Anderson was that good of a fighter. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not out here to shit on his abilities, but I completely understood what I had seen from Pulyaev before. We've seen a fighter in one of his two losses just break him down, rip him apart in that first round, and then finish him. He just made Pulyaev give up. And Liam Anderson has that pressure style. You saw that in today's fight as well. But I think I just didn't think that his striking was going to be good enough to compete with Pulyaev on the feet. And boy, was I right. Anderson was getting destroyed on the feet. Pulyaev was just having his way with him, piecing him up in strikes to the head, to the body, leg kicks, body kicks. He was just destroying Anderson in that fight. The only hope Anderson had was to take down Pulyaev, and he did try, but Pulyaev has clearly worked on that takedown defense, and I am happy he has, because the one time that Anderson was able to get, I think he actually did it twice, but the one time in the second round that he was able to get Pulyaev down, there was a minute left in the fight, in the second round, I apologize, and you can tell he was more dominant there. Pulyaev does have a decent grappling, but Anderson has great top control. He was ground and pounding him. He made a good argument for himself in that second round. Pulyaev did end up getting a 30-27 unanimous decision on the scorecard, which I am not upset about because I scored the 3 rounds for him as well. But Liam did a great job finally getting that takedown in the second, making a case for himself in that second round. But round 3 was just more of the same. He would clinch up, put Pulyev's back up against the cage, up against the fence. But he just couldn't get him down. He would go from a body lock, couldn't get him down, couldn't implement some trips, and then he would go down to a single leg. Try to drag him down to the single leg, couldn't do it. He would try to go for a double instead, but Pulyaev was just too good. I don't know if it was the length that was an issue, but Pulyaev showed that he was strong enough to withstand those takedown attempts from a strong wrestler like Liam Anderson, is what I'm trying to say. And Pulyaev just absolutely destroyed him on the feet. His striking is amazing, and I'm super excited to see him in the middleweight division. There's some great matchups we can make, and he's only 26. So I'm excited to see what Pulyaev has in store for us in the UFC. And once again, we ended up sweeping the card. Let's freaking go. Hopefully we can do it again next week. But I encourage you guys to go watch this episode, because even though there was 2 fights that didn't get finished, they were wars, and it was awesome to watch. Thank you guys so much for watching the recap. Once again, we go 5-0. I'm going to be doing fight companions for Contender Series for the rest of this season. I hope to see you guys there. I'll see you in the next video. Hold it down.